The member for Devonport.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I move that this House A recognises that 21 June is Global Motor Neurone Disease Awareness Day. B notes that this is a day to acknowledge the devastating impact of MND, to bring attention to the plight of those living with the disease and to remember those who have tragically passed. C acknowledges that South Australia is at the forefront of global research to cure MND, with groundbreaking work taking place at Flinders University. D recognises the vital role of MND South Australia and MND Australia in advocating for and supporting people living with MND, their families and carers, as well as raising awareness and funding for research. E remembers the Malinowskis Labor government's commitment to additional funding over 4 years to MNDSA, ensuring the provision of specialist care, treatment and equipment to improve quality of life for people with MND and help them remain at home rather than in hospital. And F thanks and applauds the dedicated carers, including family members, friends and healthcare professionals who go above and beyond to provide compassionate care and unwavering support to those living with MND. Mr Speaker, this Friday marks Global MND Awareness Day, a day when we pause to reflect, to acknowledge and to commit ourselves to action. And this week, MND Awareness Week, is not just a time for ribbons and hashtags, it's a time to listen. Yesterday, at our annual Parliamentary Friends of MND event, which I proudly co-host with the member for Frome, we had the honour of hearing from Peter, a South Australian who lives with MND. Peter's words will stay with me for a long time. He opened by saying, "It is an honour to stand here today and speak to you all because it is in fact not just an honour, but it is a miracle." Diagnosed over 11 years ago, Peter is a statistical outlier, a medical anomaly. But more than that, he is a husband, a father, a cyclist, a coach, a worker, a friend, and he's now a voice for those who can no longer speak. He shared with us how his MND journey began with a tremor, a strange weakness in one finger, and a long road to diagnosis. At just 29 years old, he sat in a neurologist's office beside his wife Mandy and their 3-month-old son, Josiah. He knew what was coming. He said, "You can be expecting it, but there's no way to be prepared." Peter heard what so many others have heard, the diagnosis and then the prognosis, 2 to 5 years to live. The life he imagined with his wife and children suddenly slipping away. And yet in that moment of devastation, he made a decision. Quoting the Shawshank Redemption, he told us, "I guess it comes down to a simple choice really, get busy living or get busy dying." That day and every day since, Peter has chosen to live. He returned to work where his company, EML, showed him remarkable compassion and support. He raced road bikes, winning every race he entered in 2016. And when his arms no longer allowed him to ride on the road, he adapted. These days he rides indoor on Zwift at 5 a.m. several times a week. He has now clocked nearly 70,000 kilometres without leaving his house. But even more impressive than the distance is the intention behind it. As he said, the importance of keeping my body active as well as the positive impact on my mental health cannot be understated. Mr Speaker, Peter's journey is deeply moving, but it is also rare. As he reminded us, for the average person who receives this diagnosis, 11.5 years later, their family and friends will have been remembering their passing for more than 9 years. He said his survival means that 9 others didn't make it past the first year, and that he has done nothing to deserve those extra years. He knows that. He carries the weight of that knowledge every day. And he uses it to advocate, not just for himself, but for the thousands of Australians living with MND who are walking a much harder path. One of those is a young woman, a friend's stepdaughter, just a few years younger than Peter. She has a daughter too, close in age to his own, and she has followed the typical MND trajectory. Peter has walked beside this family, witnessing their grief, their exhaustion, and their struggle to access appropriate care. And he spoke about how hard it is to find experienced qualified carers. As he said, sometimes in futility they seek quality care to help her through to the end of her days. The need is so great, and yet to find carers with the necessary experience and training, there are simply so few. And that's where MND South Australia comes in. They are the ones who step into that gap, who show up day after day in people's homes and lives, who provide breathing equipment, communication aids, showers, chairs, counselling, loan devices, whatever is needed, however quickly that it's needed. But many South Australians don't realise that MND-SA is not the same as Fight MND, as Peter reminded us. If I've donated to Fight MND, I've donated to you too, right? Unfortunately, no. Public awareness, thankfully, is growing. The Ice Bucket Challenge that we're seeing all over our socials at the moment, Neil Danaher, the Big Freeze at the G, these campaigns have been incredible. But the result is that organisations like MND-SA, who deliver day-to-day care, are often overlooked in funding. And that's why our government stepped in. The Malinowskis Labor government is proud to support MND-SA with $2.4 million over 4 years, including $500,000 a year to employ a team of allied health professionals to support people over 65 who are not eligible for NDIS funding, and $100,000 a year for a rapid response equipment loan program so that people don't wait for vital equipment that they need to breathe or move or communicate. Because in South Australia, 65% of people diagnosed with MND are over the age of 65, and 80% of those people will die before they receive any meaningful federal support from my aged care. That is a failure, and MND-SA are the ones who pick up the pieces. Mr. Speaker, I know this issue deeply. I lost my mum to MND in 2020. I felt the heartbreak, the slow stripping away of someone that you love, the loss of speech, of movement, of connection. I've also seen what care, when it's done well, can do, and I know how critical it is that we continue to support organisations like MND-SA. Peter reminded us that for him, progression has been slow. That's a blessing, but one with a shadow, as he said. If I stay well for a long time, then the medical prognosis is that I will also have a very long and gradual period of significant disability. That is a problem for another day, though. And when that day comes, he said, it will be comforting to know that with your support, MND-SA will still be there. Mr. Speaker, that is what today is about. It's about recognising the support that is needed, ensuring that MND-SA will still be there for Peter and for every other South Australian facing this cruel disease. It's about acknowledging that the fight for a cure is vital, but until that day comes, we must fight just as hard for care. It's about honouring the extraordinary strength of families, carers and the MND community, and it's about seeing the humanity behind the diagnosis. The father who can't throw his children in the air but who coaches their soccer team, that man who cycles 200 kilometres a week with only the strength of his legs, the outlier who chooses every single day not to be defined by the number in a prognosis. To Peter, thank you for standing, for speaking, for reminding us what really matters and for giving us hope. And to everyone walking this road, we see you, we support you and will not stop fighting until there's a cure and until care is guaranteed for all who need it. I commend the motion.